In 2022, if you can't list a property based on process and not on price, which is what many people did, they were overprices at listing presentations and the market caught up with that property and it sold. If you're an agent that had a shit listing presentation and in the end the market put the deal together for you, you got by. In fact, you may have had your personal best year in 2021. But I want to let you know that in 2022, that party is over. We've gone back to normal real estate. Normal real estate is a vendor generally wants more for their home than what it's worth. Normal real estate is buyers are trying to steal it. Normal real estate is there's a person in between who's putting the deal together called a real estate agent. If you're a shit one, you make under 50 grand a year. If you're a pro, you can make over $1 million a year. So go pro, go pro. There's a good piece of advice this morning. Go pro. And what does pro look like? Well, you need to understand the three key metrics in real estate. These are ratios, and you may have an opinion, but your opinion is not stronger than the facts. Whenever I talk about real estate, I always use an evidence-based approach, and that is what's the data showing. So here are the three metrics. Metric number one, you need to get very clear what your list to sell ratio is. This is what proportion of the listings that you sign up actually will sell. In 2021, it would have been close to 100%. Depending on what part of Australia you're in, that number changes. If you're in a country, regional area, traditionally, it had a very low list to sell ratio. That of course changed when we had COVID clarity during the pandemic over the last 2 years and people started having tree changes and sea changes. I also want to let you know that the list to sell ratio is also dependent on the economics of the current market. When you got high buyer confidence, most of the stuff that you list sells. When you got low buyer confidence, a lot of the stuff doesn't sell. We're moving into a marketplace that is a marketplace that I would consider to be a more balanced marketplace, which essentially says that it's not going to take only 6 or 7 days to sell a property. It'll take a lot longer. So the absorption rate is basically the metric that counts how much of the stock is absorbed in a certain amount of period of time. And I want to let you know that in 2022, I anticipate the stock will take longer to get absorbed in a period of time. So the first metric that I want you to get your head across is the list to sell ratio. What proportion of your listings will actually end up selling? Hey Josh, good to see you. One of the great real estate agents of Australia from WA. Your list to sell ratio. The second ratio I want to share with you is what is called the listing presentation to list ratio. That is what proportion of your listings that you go to, you actually sign up, right? So why is this number so important? Very simple. Because if you know that you've got a listing presentation to list ratio of 50% and you need to get 5 listings a month to get your goal, I've got to say to you that you just simply know that you've got to end up going to 10 appraisals. If you know, sorry, let me just get this right. If you know that you list 50% of the properties that you go to and you need to get 5 listings to achieve your goal, it basically means you need to go to 10 listing presentations. 10 listing presentations. So that's the second metric that you need to know. How many listings, which is appraisals, do you have to go to get your goal, right? Because all of a sudden we become fixated and myopic, and we know that in your Google Calendar, or if you're using a handwritten diary, the number of appraisals that you go to will indicate your success in 2022, right? You need to have this statistic. So what are the things that you can do to actually improve your listing presentation to list ratio? Well, improve your damn listing presentation. Take it to the next level. If it was a 7 out of 10, you take it to a 9 out of 10. The rain's starting to come down, my friends, and I can feel it's going to come down hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move over here and under some shelter. Oh, this is a great, nice little area here. Beautiful, it's covered. Oh, great. Here we go. I'll actually even sit down on this chair. So my friends, that next ratio, as I said to you, is your listing presentation to list ratio. So what can you do to improve your listing presentation? Well, number one, have just this killer pre-list. You know, one of these new digital pre-list kits that you're seeing out there in the marketplace. That would be a great thing to do. The second thing is, make sure that you've got a listing presentation that is vendor-centric, not agent-centric. And what I mean by that, you're not sitting there at a listing presentation showing them all the awards you've won. You're not sitting there at a listing presentation talking about yourself. No, you're talking about them. It's a listing presentation that is focused on solving their problem. And you are the doctor. You're sitting there having surgery, trying to solve that problem. And then the third ratio, my friends, that I want to touch on is this. The third ratio is prospecting to appraisal ratio. How many calls do you need to be making on a monthly basis to meet the metric of appraisals that you've got to go to? So all of a sudden, we've got a clear understanding. 3 key ratios. Your list to sell ratio, your listing presentation to list ratio, and then the first ratio is your prospecting to appraisal ratio. And I understand that in real estate, everyone's on a different career path, journey, right, in their career. Some people can actually do a lot less prospecting than others because they've earned the right to appraisals. They've been in the market a long time. They've got signboards up everywhere. They're an attraction agent. They've got recency. And there's a great saying, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And for those real estate agents, I'm letting you know, you will probably be doing less calls. And the reason why you're doing less calls is that you've got recency. And recency means that you're always going to be on the shopping list for most of the vendors that come to the market, which essentially means that you've got a lot of immediate seller appraisals. And the opposite to immediate seller appraisals is future seller appraisals. And this is what a lot of the newer agents are working on at the moment, right? The future seller appraisals. These are people that aren't ready to go onto the market at the moment, that you're building a relationship, you're having a stay in touch strategy, and you're putting yourself in a great position in 12 to 24 months to, no, you're right, man, you're right. 12 to 24 months to actually be in that position when they are ready to list their property, that you already have a relationship with them. So guys and girls, they're the 3 ratios. I am letting you know, we're putting the finishing touches to Real Estate Gym 2022. If you are not a gym member, hit realestategym.com.au, join up. Our intake is happening in the month of January. There is going to be a price rise that we're going to launch. So if you want to get in now, $620 a year or $65 a month. I'd love to be your real estate coach in 2022. I'll be your virtual coach. I will basically brainwash you on content and mindset and the models and motivation to help you build an incredible life in and outside real estate. You know, my model is very simple. Build an health business, effortless, lucrative, and fun. And I've walked the path. I've been doing this industry for 35 years. And the best real estate agents in the country, REB, top 100, 80 of those agents are, with their teams, members of the Real Estate Gym. And I'd love to have you on board. Guys and girls, signing off. Have a great day.